Hey,
Hey, thank
it, it's slightly mixed up time zones on my side.
we failed at that. That's okay. Thank you for coming on
You're very well.
haphazardly and quickly.
How are you? It's good to see you.
So good to see you. I'm so good. I'm so good. Just want to welcome everyone who's popping on. We're on Facebook now too. Welcome. This is Money, Sex, and God. I'm Genevieve, and I'm bringing on Chris, who I believe is committed to the same sort of thing that I am, which is a deep opening and expansion that can only happen through unlocking our erotic energy and our sexual energy. And I'm really, really excited. My whole body is tingling and excited, and lots of heat moving through me. And I know a lot of people have felt the same way about having you on. I feel like an intro, I feel like everyone already knows who you are, but Chris Bale is a master at this work and at really seeing women. Thank you. And I'm really looking forward to having him on and seeing how we play and what's here for us. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm feeling very grateful to be able to connect with not only you, but also so many of your beautiful followers and beautiful people. I haven't seen such playfulness and magneticness leading up to any one of my webinar calls ever. Congratulations.
Yeah, we know how to play. That's for sure. We know how to play, and thank goodness for that, because that's what life's for, right? Thank goodness.
And also, I'm totally open going into absolutely anything that the people watching or listening would like to get into.
Perfect.
As I prop myself up a little bit.
Great, thank you. And right now I'm seeing, funny enough, we have mostly men on, which is not what I was assuming, because we had a lot of women register, and I'm assuming they'll pop in when their bodies are ready. You know how women do with time. And so I wonder, you know what I really want to do, Chris? I want to know about you. And I think a lot of people do, because there's a depth at which you go, and it feels like this big magical mystery as to how and where your human journey led you to be able to access that and really tap into that. And you've mentioned little bits of suffering and deep pain, right? And we don't know any of the story, and someone's saying, yes, want more story. So people are really feeling that. So if you don't mind, I'm ready to listen.
Not at all. For me, the thing is with this story is that, because I get a lot of people who attempt to pull my story from me, and I totally understand it, but at the same time, I almost see it more as entertainment.
It is.
For the most part.
It
is. But I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
There's so many different angles when it comes to where I am right now, or how I got to where I am right now. So it's always different choosing kind of which entry point. But more than anything, it really began, I started doing the work around 10 years ago. I'm 31 now. I started to do the work with people 10 years ago, with myself around the age of 16. I got into meditation, Eastern philosophies, also, I had a kind of a background in my family where I had acupuncturists and different forms of body workers that were present in the family. So because of that, I was kind of exposed to it very, very early on. And at the same time, I was also incredibly sensitive energetically. So I really couldn't get out of feeling everything that was going on. So as I went through my own process, I mean, everything fell apart at a certain point, which you can't get out of that.
No.
Life itself just erupts underneath you and everything just hits the fucking ground.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm balancing this on pillows right now and it keeps falling. I began to see the pain that people were in. Just the complete and utter tension that we have been conditioned to move through our life with. And before anybody else, I first had to deal with that in myself. And as I was starting to do my work, I have a background in acupuncture. I have a background in Chinese medicine. I studied medical Qigong for many years. And then I started to gradually notice as I was working with people that I was working with them medically, but what I was noticing was it was always about polarity. So it was always coming back to sexual energy.
Mm-hmm.
It was always coming back to how a person was balanced in their masculine and how a person was balanced in their feminine. And their own relationship to sex in their own life.
Mm-hmm. We have the same story.
Mm.
Of course we do. Yeah.
So then I just started to pinpoint it.
Right.
And said, okay, rather than doing all the fancy stuff, it makes much more sense for me to just go directly to the root, directly to the source of what's causing all of this misalignment and unhappiness and misery in people's lives, and then actually assist them through that. So for me, it wasn't a book. It was thousands of hours in rooms with people, both men and women, just figuring out from an energetic standpoint what is needed. And what is this divinity? What is this oneness that everyone talks about? Because for so many of us, it's just lip service.
Right.
People talk about being one.
Right.
Yeah, you say it,
right.
But do you know it?
Right.
And then can you show it? Right. So I never wanted to be full of shit.
Right.
I always wanted to be able to, if I was going to say something, that I was going to be able to throw down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because there's a whole lot of people out there who just talk.
Yep. Yeah.
And the lack of accountability is gigantic. So I wanted to be able to throw down in that process, which means I never left myself off the hook.
Right. Right. There's such a difference between learning and knowing and being, having it in you, embodied in you. Right? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm finding is my clients can have this knowingness or this understanding, but the conditioning in their bodies, right? It's so tightly wound that the experience of it is 18 miles away, 18,000 miles away, right? And what is, you mentioned this pain. I started to feel it in my body and I felt like kind of the tears coming up behind my eyes. What are you seeing with women? What's the cause of this deep pain? I actually don't even know if I care about the cause, but what is the deep pain in women and where do we go with it?
If you take a fish out of water, the fish is going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the difference is that the fish will die almost immediately. But the way we're functioning right now, we're treating women as if they were men. And we're calling society, the lack of intelligence in society is calling women into a space of total misalignment, because you see, society has been weakened. Maleness and masculinity in society has been weakened and perverted and totally castrated to the point that now men are afraid of women in their giganticness. When a woman is truly open, truly authentic, truly feeling, truly being connected right down close to the earth, the man, because he refuses to do his work and he has been weakened, is now very uneasy with that. Mm. So what we do in society is we attempt to control femininity because we're uncomfortable with it.
Right. It's scary.
Mm-hmm. So what we have to do, and what is being done, levels of conditioning are being fed to women as they are little girls about their sex, about their bodies, treating them like little princesses, which is weakening them so much, and almost stripping them of their right to be impacted by life. Because if you have a woman moving around in her life and she is not allowing herself to be deeply, deeply impacted by everything that moves around her, she's going to be disconnected from herself, from her heart, from her intuition, and from her ability to love anything unconditionally, including herself. And men, in their flaccidness, have just sat back and watched it go on. The protectors of truth, the initiators, the warriors, they don't stand up anymore. So they allow this perversion of femininity, of love, exist. And then women are distracted with childishness. That's how you keep a woman dumb. You hang shiny things in front of her and say, you got to have this. If you have this, it'll make you more attractive. Yeah, to an idiot.
I feel so seen and such a relief hearing you say that. Like, my body is like, oh, thank you. I can experience life. Thank you.
Yes.
Like, that's what I'm good at. Like, I want to do that. And I know, as a powerful woman, meaning a powerful woman really just means a woman who's in her sexuality, right? And who knows it and who feels it. And I've spoken to other powerful women. One of the things that we get all the time, and one of our big fears is not even fear, but like annoyance, is why can't the men let us experience and dance and live in our like just like hugeness, right? Because it's huge. We do it with each other. Women do it with each other when we get together, and then we have to quell it and quench it and like just smush it into a box around so many men. And then I find women, okay, so I was talking about this with another woman the other day, and finding that women are then settling, right? We're going for the, well, he's good enough. Like, he'll give me the finances, or, which most powerful women don't even need that, but maybe he'll give me the baby, right? He'll give me his seed so I can have a baby, which is often
look after me and support me and all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they just, and I also see a lot of women going, he's good enough and I'll teach him.
Mhm.
Right. I'll show him, I'll train him, I'll teach him. And I have been doing that since the second I hit puberty, and it is exhausting. It is so
Totally.
exhausting. And so what do women do to, because I know there's something we can do to shift this paradigm so that we're not put into the teacher role of let me teach you how to be a man. Because that's what it feels like, just point blank.
But that's what's happening. And every woman's got to have one. She wants her own, and she wants to design it the way she wants it to be. So it's a loop of this childishness that just starts to kind of pervert one another. The first thing that I would really invite women to start doing, because before she can ever be a woman for anybody else, she needs to learn how to be a woman for herself. And that can be done with the door closed with nobody else in the room. But that involves, as I said earlier about being impacted, a woman who is not receptive will never know what it feels like to be a woman. There's no way around it. I wish there was, because they communicate it, but based on the amount of women that I've worked with and what I've really come to understand from an energetic and physical standpoint, there's no way around it. And this is what a woman is now most afraid of. So terrified of feeling in case she's hurt. But what I have to say is, why would you give yourself away to somebody so they can hurt you or so they can break your heart to begin with? It's your heart.
Right.
It's all yours.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is more of an excuse that now women come to the table with is, oh, I just want to fuck. I don't really want to make love because, I don't want to open my heart in case it gets broken. If you are sitting in your heart, and if you've ever actually been to your heart, you would never say those words.
Right.
You know how powerful and gigantic and complete your heart is.
Right.
Once you give it that sweet, sweet allowance. But for a woman to come back to that place in herself, she's going to have to start not only being receptive to the bliss, but also being receptive and reclaiming her pain.
Yeah.
So she can even understand how to let it go.
I remember one of the days that I feel like I really came to my womanhood. I was sitting in this room. This is a very small room. It feels like a womb in here. I was sitting down and I was completely alone. And for like 2-3 hours, just a few years ago, I just allowed myself to feel everything. And I thought I was dying. Like I got to a level of pain in my body that I was like, I think I might actually need to go to the hospital. Like I don't know if I'm going to make it out alive of this process at all. And what it showed me, what it allowed my body to experience was that there is a depth at which I can hold my own heart, where I don't have to go around, and this is something I was talking to a woman the other day with, I don't have to go around and assign people to give me safety anymore, right? So many women, even really powerful women, I'm seeing go, I need a commitment from you, or I need this from you in order for me to open my heart, or I need, and the guys are like, okay, right? And then all of a sudden they're in this thing and she keeps checking to make sure the thing is still there so she can be safe enough to open up, when the reality is that when she is in her essence, her safety is within her, right? Yeah. And in, especially in sexual flow, nothing's going to hold that safety. It's mindless, right? There's
no safety.
There is no safety. It's not
There's
even
the opposite of safety. When that energy hits you, when life starts to bubble up, that's going to take you places where there's no railings to hold on to.
free fall. Yeah.
But this is why even in sex, women have sex like men.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what women, this whole sexual revolution is like all hail Sir Clit. And the thing about the clitoris is that this is a female's penis.
Right.
So energetically, this makes her more negative. Energetically, when she's just playing with her penis all day, she's having male orgasms. And she's missing the depth of bliss that is running through and available to her. She can be an orgasm in her forehead. She can bring or go into orgasm in her eyes, in her teeth, in the back of her mouth, her throat, her chest, her breasts, her arms, her fingers. Mm-hmm. So when she's just focusing on the little peenie, no wonder she walks around pissed off and frustrated and not happy with men and what's being brought to her.
And then zapping it with a vibrator, right? And just killing all the nerves, like zip, 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 zip.
With a machine that is not human. There ain't no frequency to that. Mm-hmm. And this is why women more than ever really need to be engaged with intelligently from a male perspective as well. So as long as you're, yes, doing your work, but it really needs to be supported on this planet by men.
And how? What do we need from the men?
We need the men to start realizing that every woman in his life is not his mother.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, sorry, go.
Because of this, men are totally inauthentic in all of their relatings with women, because they're associating and engaging and interfacing with femininity in the same way that they would as a child with their mother when he's attempting to pull praise from her, pull compliments from her, pulling validation and safety from her. Tell me I'm handsome. Tell me I'm a big, strong man. And if you start dealing with your man and mothering him like that, or you even want to train him, you're training him to not be a man. Right. Because as a woman, a man is not something that you will be very comfortable around fully in yourself. Because a free man is one of the most terrifying things for a woman to be around. Because he sees her. And he feels.
It's right there.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the consciousness that we have been imbued to bring forward into this life. So from the men's side, they need to step the fuck up. They need to realize that not everyone is going to hand them all the answers on a silver plate. The process of a man initiating and coming to a place of healthy, sovereign maleness, where he can move around his life and swing his dick according to his own terms, in a respectful, compassionate, loving way, where he's connected to his feminine, he's connected to his heart, but without ever forsaking his maleness. For him to do this, he needs to figure it out. He needs to fall down and get back up, and fall down and get back up. But now society has so many things in place that when the man falls over, 700 hands come down and offer him the answer.
And then they all live with their moms.
Either in person or energetically. Right. I know men who live with their moms and their moms have passed on.
And for some reason, it's different with women. Like there's a in society, it seems like a woman falls down and everyone knows she's going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, oh, she's got that. I remember when I was going through my divorce and I had a 6-month-old child and living in New York City and on food stamps, and everyone was like, you're strong, you're powerful, you'll figure this out. And I was like, I know I will. And Would you say that to a man? Probably not.
No. It would never happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So of course I get resentful, right? Women get resentful at that.
Of course, because now you have to pick up the slack.
Right. Right.
So he can be somewhere and be totally up for grabs, where anyone can come along and take his mind and infect him with conditioning. So not only then does the woman have to look after herself, she also has to babysit the man, mother the man, watch what he's getting into, making sure what he's getting into is the right decision, questioning him on everything he's doing, because not because she's a bitch, not because she's crazy, but because, dude, you don't give her any space to feel like she can just sit back and relax.
Right.
The man comes to me complaining about his partner.
Right.
And I'm like, it's nothing to do with her. Because a woman who is being held by a man is not going to be behaving with you in that way.
Right.
Because she's going to be so beautifully swept up in all the unconditionality and the blissfulness that occurs and bubbles up between you both together. She won't have time to look into whatever else is going on in the corner. Because she trusts you.
It's trust. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I know he'll show up.
Yeah.
Which is just, that is the most freeing experience when a woman can feel that. We get to go, oh, really great. I'm going to go dance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go play. I'm going to go frolic in the meadow. Like, I don't have to do shit right now. It feels so good.
And even the not doing shit will allow you to do all of the beautiful things that you are actually in view to be doing as a woman. Mm-hmm. And this is where we start to get into this gray matter where the PC culture starts to freak out, where everyone wants to do the same thing and do the same stuff and be the same way. It doesn't fucking work like that. And that's what's making us sick.
Right. This is, I know you reflected to me a few days ago, this birthing, right? How I'm always birthing. And that's when I'm given my space to be free in my body and given permission to tap into who I am as a woman, I birth. And it's not
having to try.
No, I don't even think. Like, it's a completely mindless endeavor. I'm completely disinterested in thinking. I don't care. I don't want it. Right? I want to feel and birth. And in that space, then that's where creation gets to happen. Right. And so before my sexual awakening, I was successful. I created a really successful business, but it was through the masculine push. It was through the way that society brought me up to do it. And then I had, a chronic illness. I lost my sex drive. I was angry. I got fat. Like, all this shit started happening to my body. And I was like, oh, this is not actually what my body likes. This is not the energy that my body likes to inhabit at all. Right. So, and how, yeah, I don't know anything on that. I don't really have a question.
What I see is that women are wasting so much of their life force just by forgetting that she's a woman.
Yeah.
Just forgetting how magnetic she actually is and how her office is in the bedroom, mm-hmm. where she creates, where she manifests. That is all happening from an internal standpoint. That seed needs to be planted, it needs to be watered so it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, with intention, with love, with patience, with softness, with relaxation, with allowing that seed and that feeling and that vision of what you're looking to create, allowing it to impact you totally until it gets so big that then it's birthed out of the body and it manifests physically.
It doesn't even feel like that feeling, that bigness feeling. It feels like my body actually can't control it, as if I'm literally giving birth. Like it gets so big that it's like, oh, the baby's coming. Okay, here it goes. Let's go for the ride. And there's nothing to grab onto. There's nothing to stop it. There's no effort. It's just like the bigness has gotten so big that it's impossible to stop it. And that, I think, just looping back, is what the men are afraid of.
Of course.
Big, it's huge. It's huge.
A man's biggest fear is being overwhelmed by female energy.
Oh my God, talk more about that.
Every woman who's ever had sex with any man ever just needs to look at the situation, even in the bedroom. Of how as soon as you start to, it starts to roll up on you and you start to feel all of that goodness moving through you, all of a sudden, before you know it, he's like, oh shit, baby. Bigger you've gotten based on his own sadhana, based on his spiritual work that he's done. He has lost the ability to be with female energy as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you actually pull him in to dissipate himself. So the real power in a man is being able to stand there in total depth of presence as he follows your energy going higher and higher. And he has the understanding as a man how to utilize his own male energy to start intensifying what's going on in you, all from a subtle place, all from an energetic place. So he brings you higher and higher and higher and higher and follows you and stays with you. So when you get sky high, you still feel him be there with you, penetrating you with love and presence and all of the powerfulness that he's come here to bring. This is where manifestation happens at the quickest rate possible. Because then together, both of you can plant intentionally in the moment. But for the man to get to that point, he needs to be able to surf your waves. Female energy is water. Sexual energy is water. When a man gets horny, that's not his masculine energy. That's his femininity stirring in him. And what does he want to do?
Right.
He wants to release it. He wants to get rid of it. Because his woman in him is starting to get too big.
Oh, wow, that's cool. What does it feel? Because I don't have, so I've had my fair share of being with women and working with lesbians. And so I've seen this and I've played the role of the masculine. And I know how it feels in my body. And what it does on the other side of a woman, if I have a woman in front of me, is I can feel her femininity in my femininity. And we're like cycling through it together. Is it the same thing for men? And is that what they run away from? Or is it slightly different?
For a man, it's similar to having, in a split second, the world's biggest tsunami just starting to rush up through you.
Wow.
To the point where it's actually looking to feminize you, and that energy is calling upon the man to say, all right, show me what you got. How much can you hold me? How down deep and rooted can you be as I start to flood through you? So the more that the man can start to strengthen his maleness and ground down deeper and deeper to hold more of this woman internally, he starts to get more and more powerful. Because now he can channel and receive so much more of that life force. So as an example, when I engage with a woman, all I'm doing is bringing that energy to her. All I'm doing is bringing the female energy to her, her to her. And as soon as it starts to move through her, then I ground into my maleness. Then I penetrate her. But most men are coming to women just trying to do things to her.
Right.
but he's never made contact with her. He's never connected to her. He's never felt her heart. He's never communicated to her. He's never felt all the places that exist in her that are deeply in sadness, that are deeply in grief. He's never come to terms with the felt sense of all the time she's laid down with a man and allowed a man inside of her because she thinks she should have, but she physically didn't want to. So even as I'm communicating with you right now, I feel all that come up in you because that's the collective. Breathe, feel it.
It's a mix of so much relief and the pain at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You said that piece about how much man hold her, right? It's like if I go to every strong woman that I love and that I connect to and I've met, it's always that piece that's so desired in our bodies, like that holding. And we have to often teach them how to do it. And so just to hear it is like, oh God, that's how it feels. So it's really beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a little mindless now. I wrote down questions, but I'm playing. I wonder if anyone has any that's on. They can ask. You guys can ask some, so I can just be in this space. That would be great.
And what I want to say to the men who are watching is that this place of mindlessness is his duty. So that a woman gets the pleasure of when she comes into contact with a man, her mind just turns off, shuts down. She's like, she doesn't even know how to use it anymore. And her body turns on. So if a man is really being in himself as a man, and he's allowing his male energy move, and he's done all his work to not fear himself so much, and to give himself full allowance to move the way that his energy wants to move, he'll have so much of his own energy that as soon as he comes in contact with a woman, her whole body will just start to respond. The mind turns off and the body turns on. This is polarity. And the reason women are in such a frustrating and almost like a miserable place of existence for the majority of their life at this moment in time is because they never get a break from their mind. Just locked away in that head. And then when they come to sex, the man isn't even being present with them. So the man isn't even demanding that she come down into her body and feel.
And I think both of them are so afraid of her coming into her body and feeling. Like both of them. The woman's like, I can't feel all those feelings. If I feel feelings, chaos will ensue. And the man is like, those feelings are gonna rip me to shreds. So they both ignore it. Simultaneously. They're dancing around this thing and falsifying it together and living happily ever after. Just like that. You know, yeah. I get a lot of women that say to me, I'm feeling it, that say to me, Genevieve, the amount of trauma and pain that I've experienced is too great. I can't go there. It's too great. I can't drop in. And I mean, I know, just, I can't speak anymore. So speak to that. What would you say to a woman that said that?
I'd say nothing. I'd hold her. And I'd allow everything in me, ignite everything in her that will bring all of that up.
Right.
because I got her. Because I'm there to totally support her coming back into full alignment with herself.
Mm.
So words are relevant for the most part.
Yeah, and for the women, the man is there to hold you, and just a reminder, because women do this, they go, oh, now the man is what keeps me safe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's simply reflecting you. Your safety is within you.
Safety is always within.
Right.
But the man, you see, we come here coded with a very specific purpose for the community as men. And a part of that is to protect. It is to keep community safe physically and also emotionally, energetically. So what tends to happen is that a woman doesn't want to go to feel. She doesn't want to go there. She decides that all these cosmopolitan magazines she reads, she decides, you know what, after these 16 articles, I've come to the decision that I am a strong woman and I don't need no man. So she's never going to meet one because she doesn't have a space in her life for a man to step into purpose with her. So when a woman wants to take over everything and she wants to kind of pick up all the slack, not that she wants to, but if that's what she's been conditioned into thinking she must do to not be weak. Men are clueless because society literally is calling men to do nothing right now.
Right.
Society, it's all about women right now. It's all about just everything has to do with women. And that's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. But men are kind of now standing on the sidelines with their hands in their pockets, kicking a rock, going, well, you know, what do I do? So, so if a woman is never going, baby, I need you in this way, he's going to have no role there. He has no purpose. So he's going to commit to his God, which might be alcohol or drugs or football or something meaningless that is in no way him attached to his creator, where he's moving through life to serve something greater than himself. When a woman falls back into her receptivity and says, baby, figure it out because I want to feel you. You're so magnificent and I know you're magnificent, but I can't bring you there. You need to go figure that out and then bring it back to me, and I will reflect back to you what you've just walked into this room holding.
Yes. We love doing that. We love doing that. Men, hear him.
Hear me.
There's nothing more fun than when a king walks in, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the room.
But not a king, just to clarify, not a king who has been made by society or his parents or his friends or anybody. A king who has come to his own kingdomship via himself, his own commitment to his terms, what's right for him, and saying what he wants to say, asking for what he needs just to be happy and healthy as a man. Mm-hmm. Because then a woman can trust him because he's never going to appease to her.
Yes. We don't, yes. Yes. There's no greater joy. Very, very little greater joy for me. And when I get to love a man than when I get to celebrate him.
That's it. Celebrating.
Like my whole body awakens and it is just the most precious, and it's what we all want to do. Every woman that I've spoken to, I feel it. And we don't do it because the men aren't stepping up. So we then form women's circles and celebrate each other.
Yes.
Which is great. And we're missing you guys.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. But you see, no men are so afraid of being effective.
Why?
Because there is so much indoctrination and conditioning that any man who steps up in any level of firmness and speaking any form of truth in this day and age, right, he has an army of people with placards screaming at him.
Right. Rapist.
That he's sexist or misogynist.
Right.
I don't care. Call me all the things you want to call me because I'm not here for you. I'm here for life.
Right.
So I'm going to move in alignment with that.
Yeah, there does feel like the best way I've been able to feel it as in feeling men is that there's this like penetrative quality that's missing. And some men are doing the, oh, I'm going to do the penetrative quality, but with absolutely no protection. Like, I'm just going to like, ah! Right?
Yes.
And then there's no protection. And I love that you brought up today both those things, because as a woman, I need both. Right? If you're just the protector, I am not going to be able to celebrate you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not possible. And if you're just the penetrative, then I won't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so where does that leave me? Doing all your shit for you, basically. And exhausted. Right?
That's the issue that we need to remedy.
Right. Right. So how? It's internal work, is what you're saying. A man goes away to a mountaintop. Is that it?
Because everything has gotten so foggy, we almost need a time of separation.
Yeah.
We need to kind of go to our respective polarities or corners in the universe.
Right.
And we need to start to reintroduce the fullness and the completeness in ourselves as individuals, and then come back to one another so that that charge can be created and can be shared and can be circulated. But from a more practical standpoint, that's exactly the work that I'm doing with men individually and with women individually. It's totally different work, but it's always directed to the same thing, to bringing that wholeness and dynamicness and the balance to the individual.
Yeah. I spend so much time daily just in my sex alone, deconditioning myself from the shit.
Yes.
Right? Like getting out, because I can literally feel it. It feels like it falls off of me. Because if I don't do that, I show up as a man. Like, I show up really masculine, and my adrenals die and everything sucks. Right. So that for women, at least for me and my body, that's what works for me really beautifully. And women being with women, there's something really beautiful there. Like just diving into that like circle of mushiness with a bunch of women. We all just remind each other of it, and it's magic. It's gorgeous. I was with a woman the other day, and a man came into the room. We've been playing together for the last couple of hours, just talking and chatting and eating chocolate and rubbing each other's hair and doing what women do and not making any sense and flying all over the room. And he walks in and he goes, I don't really know what to do here. It's like, yeah.
That is a tricky situation.
And I wanted to say to him, don't speak, don't do anything, just sit there and hold us. That's it. I didn't. And I'm hearing you, that the importance of us women saying that, right? Of saying, shush.
Just be present, just be there.
Right.
But also, I would even go beyond that to the man, and I would say, do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm going to communicate to the man a little bit differently in that type of a scenario. Because exactly what he's going to want to do is what's going to bring up all his fear and trepidation and his healing. Because his male energy naturally wants to spring to something. But he goes, well, there's so many of my mothers in the room right now. I can't spring the way my body and my being wants to, because they may discipline me.
And really, we just want to celebrate you. So spring so we can, right? We have questions. Can I see what comes up?
Sure, let's see what's coming up.
Okay. What if a woman does not want to be held?
Well, see, what I would say is that she hasn't met a man that she wants to be held by.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to say you don't want to be held if everyone you have been held by in the past has in no way held space for you that has been supportive of you being all of you, because what you're afraid of being is all of you. And if you were to really be held, you may just start to feel you come up, and that might scare the shit out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two parts to that.
Yeah.
But we're human. We all want to be held.
How do men want to be held?
He doesn't. He doesn't want to be held. He wants to hold. And he wants to feel you melt as you allow him to totally impact you. And you allow yourself to be totally receptive to whatever it is that he's hopefully consciously bringing to you and consciously planting in you. When I put my arms around a woman, my only intention is to plant an oasis inside of her. So that means anything that is unlike that oasis has to come up out of her.
Right.
So I stand there and wait for all of that to come up out of her. And when it's free, then we can plant.
Right. Right.
So what I would say is that a man doesn't want to be held. He only wants to be held because of all the ways that he has been tormented.
Mm.
All the ways that he has been told how powerless he is. A man who doesn't feel of impact cannot feel like a man in his life.
Right. It's so interesting, my experience, because whatever you just said just goes like this, right? This is but my experience and what I was feeling when I asked you that question, I went right away into mother energy. You closed your eyes and right away I tried to nurture you. Right away I went into this like, oh my God, I'll hold you. Look, oh my God, he's going to be vulnerable. Oh my God, wow. And then you said, I don't, or men don't. And right away my experience was, oh, thank God. Like I took this deep breath of like, oh, fuck, thank God. Right. And I think that's a rare experience, and one that only I think comes from a man that has done his work to not be mothered, because it's not just that women are going around trying to mother men are allowing it and almost asking.
They're asking for it. They're totally, completely asking for it.
Right. And women are doing a bit of the same, looking for dad in our like, oh my God, the world is scary. Mm-hmm. Please be the safe thing, right? And let me like hold on to you so you can be the safe thing. Mm-hmm. And there is such incredible freedom when a woman taps into her sex and her wholeness, and she goes, oh, well, safety is actually bullshit. Number one. Number two, I'm already free, right? And so there's actually nothing that he's not really there to do anything except show me. Play in me.
That's it. That's all he's there to do, just to access that portal.
Right.
Because you're the earth, you're the planet.
Right.
He's God consciousness that's here to shine on that so that flower can grow.
Right.
Because if there's no sunlight, if there's nothing shining, then how the hell does anyone know they're alive?
Right.
That is the man's role. The man is solar by nature. The man runs hot. The man is fire. The woman is lunar, like the moon. She runs cold, and the moon isn't shining. The moon is reflecting the sun back.
Right.
But all these women right now are like, oh, that's weak. So I don't want to like, you can't impact me. It's like, okay, well, you can stay there not being impacted, but you will shrivel up.
I don't know, it feels much better to me to just be like the moon and wait for people to notice my radiance, right? And shine it and put some light on. Like that feels way better than being the continual sun of constantly having to, right?
Push.
And fucking like the fire. It's like, I'll burn. I don't want to. I'd much rather wait and just play with the moon and how the moon rotates and turns and the dance of it, right? It's gorgeous that way. And in that, when the light is shining on me, I don't have to change my surface. I don't have to do anything because my brilliance is already right there, right?
Yeah.
And the moon knows it's going to get some light. It's not worried about it. It's just waiting. It's like, I'll just keep dancing. Right? Beautiful.
And the attention will turn that way anyway.
Exactly. It's amazing. I could do this all day long because I don't have to have a brain around you, which feels the best. So thank you. And we have to hold the 3D time container. So I've got to run to another thing. But unfortunately, more of this.
Well, it's been an hour already.
Do you believe it?
Wow.
This is what
very little concept of time. This
is what play looks like when it's flowing. Right? This is what life looks like when it's flowing. It's so good. Everyone loved it, of course, and thank you so much for showing up.
Thank you for having me and for introducing me and what I do to your people.
Yeah. And guys, I highly recommend having some one-on-one time with Chris, so you can, it's magic. His website link is in all of the things that I've sent out. So grab that, book with him. And thank you for showing up, those of you that are listening and watching and being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who has given your time and has tuned in, and to people who are going to watch after as well. My intention is that it impacts you and it shakes you a little bit if it needs to, and that it starts pointing you in your direction, which is leading back to yourself and nowhere else.
Exactly.
Because that's where the answers are.
So good. All right, love.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.